Was feeling under the weather most of the day today and canceled all my appointments. Mm, and got to the evening mm, and was like, am I going to go train or not train? And it's a it's a testament to how I guess sick or under the weather you have to be to decide not to train or do something physical. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm terribly sick. I'm just, run down. And it got to evening time, and I still wanted to move my body. Um, I didn't need to go hard, even though I went, pretty hard. But not as hard as I would go if I were 100% healthy. But I still had the desire to go and train. And my girlfriend was like, no, you shouldn't train, stay and relax. And I was like, well, then what am I going to do? And she said, you want to train that badly? I was like, yeah. Because I did, because it just feels right for my body to go and do that. And staying home would have been like somebody else's desire for me. Like it's something that my parents instilled in me when I was little, like to take it easy on myself, to be too gentle with myself, to stay home if I felt the slightest bit of illness or whatever. In fact, one time they kept me out of, this was in ninth grade, I was the junior high wrestling captain, and they kept me out of the championship tournament at the end of the year because I caught a cold. And that affected me, like that affected my approach to life. And I kind of took on this mentality of, well, I don't want to push myself too hard because that might be dangerous. Where in fact, what is true for me, what's authentic for me, is to actually push myself as hard as possible until I can't go anymore, like until my body tells me, no, you cannot do this. And that's not what my body was telling me today. Today, my body was telling me, I want to move. And I'm glad I gave it a chance to move. It's like there are days when I don't want to go to jiu-jitsu, and like the thought of not going to jiu-jitsu makes me smile because I'm just that tired or sick or whatever. Today was not one of those days. Today it's like I would have had to force myself to not go because somebody else said you shouldn't go. So it's different. And I think that's, I mean, everybody's different. For me, it's important to move. And I'm listening to a podcast episode where somebody's talking about COVID and what happened during that year. And for me, what happened during that year is I got in touch with how much my body needs to move. Because all of a sudden I was getting outside, I was walking for like, 2 to 3 hours a day because I had nothing else to do. And I was like, oh, this feels good. My body feels good if I move it this much. This isn't too much. Before, I would have said, oh, that's too much. I'm overdoing it. Like I need to exercise less and work more or whatever. because that's the mentality that was put into me from childhood, that exercise wasn't that important, that you have to, sit at your desk and study. But that never was natural to me. I always wanted to move, and I would stop myself from moving because in my head I had this other message. And COVID was the year when I flipped that around and realized, oh, I need to move. So now it feels good to move. And I let myself do it, and I'm happy.